A very good morning to all. This video gives the information regarding the testing of the DC motors. Testing of machines is used for finding losses, efficiency and temperature rise. So these are the several objectives of testing. So in manufacturing of the motors in an industry, it is essential that each and every machine should undergo testing. Testing is required to determine whether the performance of the machine is as per the designed value or not. If the performance of the motor is not in the designed value, or if there is any difference in the actual value and the calculated value, so the design can be modified accordingly. From testing, we can also determine the quality of the materials used. So these are the some several objectives of testing. Now, types of testing. There are number of testing methods are employed to test the DC motor. So usually two methods are used to test the DC motor, that is direct method of testing and indirect method of testing. In direct method of testing, the generator or motor is put on full load and whole of the power developed by it is wasted. Brake test is a typical example of direct test. The direct test can be used only on small machines. In indirect method of testing, so again there are many methods are used, that is Swinburne test, Hopkinson test, or it is also called as regenerative test, or back-to-back test, retardation test and field test. So these all four tests comes under the indirect method of testing. Now let me discuss one by one method of testing. So the direct method of testing, so brake test or load test. Motor can be loaded directly and its performance can be analyzed by the efficiency of the motor, and which is given by efficiency is equals to output power to the input power. Though this method is simple but involves complication in the measurement of mechanical power input in the case of generator and output in case of a motor. If brake is to be applied to a series motor, the brake must be tight before the motor is started. Otherwise, the armature may get damaged and break into pieces. The disadvantage of the brake test is that accuracy in determining the mechanical power output of the motor is limited, and it is difficult to provide full load for the large capacity motor. These two are the disadvantages of the direct method of testing. Now let me discuss how the test can be carried out. So this is the circle diagram of brake test or load test on DC motor. So here the motor which is under test, so this is the motor is under test, which is coupled with the brake drum arrangement in order to apply the mechanical load over the motor. It consists of two spring weight, so that is W1 and W2. Motor can be started by the 3-point starter, so that is this is a DC shunt motor. You know, DC shunt motor, for starting up DC shunt motor, 3-point starter can be used. So it consists of 3 point, so L, F and A. A be the armature terminal of the 3-point starter, F be the field terminal of the 3-point starter, L be the line terminal of the 3-point starter. A terminal of the starter, it is connected to the armature winding of the motor. F terminal of the point, it is connected to the field winding of the motor. L terminal of the starter, it is connected to the supply. Ammeter and voltmeter is connected. Ammeter, it is used to measure the input current, and voltmeter, it is connected to measure the input voltage. Here 230 volt DC supply is given to the motor. So now here let us consider V be the supply voltage measured by the voltmeter V, I be the input current measured by the ammeter A, W1 and W2 be the spring balance reading in kg, or it is also called as weight of the brake pulley arrangement, N be the speed of the armature in RPM, and R be the radius of the pulley. So that is if this is a pulley, so its radius is R, that is radius of the brake drum arrangement. So this is predefined value. Then the net force acting on pulley is the difference between the weights, that is W1 and W2. So this is in terms of kg, and this can be converted into Newton by multiplying the gravitational force, that is 9.81. The torque developed by the motor can be calculated by using the formula T is equals to W1 minus W2 into R. This is in terms of kg meter, and that can be converted into Newton meter by multiplying the constant, that is 9.81. Finally this expression becomes T is equals to 9.81 into W1 minus W2 into R. The output of the motor can be calculated by, it is the product of the torque developed by the motor and the angular speed of the armature of the motor. The angular speed of the armature of the motor, it is given as 2 pi n divided by 60, where n be the actual speed of the armature. Call this as equation number 1. The input to the motor is calculated by, it is the product of the supply voltage and supply current. Call this as equation number 2. Then as we know that efficiency of the motor can be calculated by, it is the ratio of output power to the input power. So we know the output power of the motor and input power of the motor. These two ratio, it gives the efficiency of the motor. Finally we'll get the efficiency of the motor as eta is equals to 2 pi n into 9.81 into W1 minus W2 into R divided by 60 Vi. So this is about how the test will be carried out, that is brake test or load test. So let me study some numericals on this brake test or load test. So one example is taken here. In brake test, the effective load on the pulley was 38.1 kg. The effective diameter of the pulley is 63.5 centimeter and speed is 12 rps. The motor took 49 ampere at 220 volt. Calculate the output power and efficiency at this load. First write down the given data. So the load is given, that is difference in the weight W1 minus W2 is given, that is 38.1 kg. The diameter of the pulley is also given, so that is 63.5 centimeter. So here the radius of the pulley is to be calculated by dividing the diameter by 2, and the speed of the motor is given, that is 12 rps, that can be converted into rpm, so multiplied it with 60. Then the drawn current is given, that is 49 ampere. Then supply voltage is given, that is 220 volt. Now first we have to calculate the effective torque in newtons. So torque can be calculated by using the formula, that is T is equals to 9.81 W1 minus W2 into R. Substitute the value of W1, W2 and R, then we'll calculate the torque of the motor. So the torque of the motor will get as 118.66 Newton meter. Then input to the motor can be calculated by using the formula, that is product of supply voltage and current, that is 220 is the supply voltage and 49 ampere is the drawn current. So then we'll get the input power to the motor as 10.780 kilowatt. Output of the motor can be calculated by using the formula, that is T into omega. So the torque has been calculated already, that is 118.66 Newton meter. That T is multiplied by the angular velocity so of the motor, that is 2 pi m divided by 60. So finally we'll get the output of the motor as 8.947 kilowatt. Then finally the efficiency of the motor can be calculated by output power to the input power. Then we'll get the efficiency of the motor as a 83%. So this is the one example so on testing of DC motor. Now let me move further, that is indirect method of testing. So here there is one more numerical is given, just try this numerical. One more numerical is there, just try over this numerical, so then get the answer for this numerical. So already the answer is also solved, so here you just analyze this and we'll get the what numerical. This is same as that of what before that we have taken just now, the numerical. So now the indirect method of testing. So this method consists of measuring the losses and then calculating the efficiency. The simplest of the indirect test is Swinburne test. Hopkinson test is commonly used test under this method on shunt motors. This method also enables the determination of losses without actually loading the machine. The power is required to supply the losses only, so there is no difficulty in applying this method even to very large machine. The disadvantage of this method is that machine is run light during this test, which gives no indication to the temperature rise on load or to the commutating qualities of the machines. Now let me discuss in that one type, that is Swinburne test. This Swinburne test comes under the category of indirect method of testing. In this test, the losses are measured separately and efficiency at any desired load is predetermined. The iron and friction losses are determined by measuring the input to the machine On no load, the machine being run as a motor at normal voltage and speed. The copper losses are calculated from measured values of the various resistances. The method may be applied to level compound generators and to shunt motors. So under this condition, it's no load line current I0, field current ISH, and rated voltage VL are recorded, from which either constant losses or stray losses are computed. So this is the circuit representation of the motor. So initially the motor can be run under no load condition. So here the motor which is under test. So this is the motor under test. So this motor armature, it is connected to the armature terminal of the 3-point starter, and its field winding is F1 and F2. So this is connected to the 3-point starter field winding terminal, and a variable rheostat is connected in series with the field winding in order to limit the field winding current. And the L terminal of the starter, it is connected to the supply. And even here also the no load current can be calculated or measured by the ammeter, which is connected to the circuit, and a voltmeter which is connected in parallel with the motor in order to measure the supply voltage. Here also the same supply voltage, that is 230 volt DC supply is given. Now no load armature current of the motor is calculated by using the formula Ia0 is equals to I0 minus ISH. I0 be the no load current of the motor, and ISH be the shunt field winding current. Now constant losses can be calculated by using the formula, that is no load input, difference between no load input and no load armature copper loss, that is VL into I0 minus Ia0 square RA. So here VL into I0, so VL into I0, it represents the no load input, so this represents the no load input, and Ia0 square into RA, which represents the no load armature copper loss. So you know this formula, it is nothing but the input power is equals to the combination of no load armature copper loss and the constant losses. And even the stray losses can also be calculated by using the formula input on no load, difference between the input on no load and shunt field copper loss and armature copper loss. Input on no load, it is the product of the supply voltage and no load current, and shunt field copper loss is the ISH square into RSH, where RSH be the shunt field winding resistance, and armature copper loss be the Ia0 square into RA, where Ia0 be the no load armature current, RA be the armature resistance. From the nameplate of the machine, the full load current is known. The full load current can be determined, that is the value of the I suffix L. The input to the motor on full load, it is given as, it is the product of line voltage and the line current, this is in terms of watts. Its armature current on full load is difference in the line current and shunt field winding current, it gives the armature current on full load. Full load armature copper loss is the square of the armature current and the armature resistance. You know, armature current is the difference in the line current and shunt field winding current. Now finally the full load armature copper loss is IL minus ISH its whole square into RA. Then finally the efficiency of the motor on full load can be calculated by using the formula, that is input minus losses divided by the input. Input minus losses, it is nothing but the output. So this divided by input, you know the efficiency formula, that is output divided by input. So output can be represented as input minus losses. Now here the both the losses are considered. So input as the product of line voltage and line current. So the losses here the constant losses as well as variable losses, that is copper losses are considered. The constant losses are denoted as P suffix C. Variable losses, that is the copper loss, it is given as this IL minus ISH its whole square into RA. Then finally we can calculate the efficiency of the motor. So this is about the Swinburne test, how the test will be carried out by, that is Swinburne method of testing. This is one more indirect method of testing. Now let me move towards the one more indirect method of testing, that is Hopkinson test, or it is also called as regenerative test. Now through this test full load testing of two DC shunt machines can be carried out, mainly identical ones. In this test, power drawn from the supply only corresponds to no load losses of the machine. Electrically, these two machines are mechanically connected in parallel and controlled in such a way that one machine acts as a generator and the other act as a motor. The output of motor is used to drive the generator and the electrical output of generator is used as an input to the motor. Both motor and generator would have run without any external power supply. If there are no losses in the machine, but due to losses generator output is not sufficient to drive the motor and vice versa. Now let me see the circuit representation of the Hopkinson test of test on DC motor. So here the two machines are used, so both are coupled each other. So one machine act as a motor, another machine act as a what, generator. Both are DC machines. So here so this is the field winding of the motor, and the variable resistor is connected in order to limit the field current. So this is the field winding of the generator, and this is the variable resistor, it is connected in order to limit the that is excitation which is given to the generator. The shunt field current, it is calculated by the ammeter, that is A2, and A4, which measures the excitation current of the generator. And one more, that switch is provided, that is AS. A voltmeter is connected at the two terminal of the switch, and ammeter A1 is used in order to calculate the supply current. Now similarly the supply voltage is given, so 230 volt DC voltage. If the switch S is opened, in that case the machine 1, so this is the machine 1, now this is the machine 1, so this act as an motor. So now this is machine 2, it act as an generator. Now in this case these two machines are coupled each other, so generator will be the load on the motor in this case. Now so as you know that both the machines are coupled each other, so obviously we have to set in such a way that so the potential across the switch, it should be what comes to 0. How to set? So in order to setting the field, that is excitation of an generator, so that excitation of an generator is to be set, that is in order to set the voltage across the switch, what it becomes 0. So once the switch is closed, when the switch is closed, so in that case what happens, the motor will draw the small current from the supply. So the maximum current, it can be taken by the generator itself. You know the generator output, so which draw the current of I2. So then the motor armature, it draw the current of the combination of the supply voltage as well as the, that is generator output current, that is I1 plus I2. That means when once the switch is closed, in that case the motor draws the current of what, I1 plus I2. So in that case both the machines will operate simultaneously. So one machine will be load on the another machine. So once the switch is gets closed, then all the parameters are calculated here. So this is the some the methods to carry out the test is given, that is a theoretical term. Then let us consider the V be the supply voltage, then I1 be the current taken from the supply. So here you can observe by seeing this figure. Then I2 be the current supplied by the generator, I3 be the excitation current of generator, I4 be the exciting current of motor, Ra be the resistance of armature of each machine, eta be the efficiency of the generator and motor. So input to the motor can be calculated as the current drawn by the motor is the combination of the both the current, that is supply current, that is I1, and the generator output current I2. V be the supply voltage, so this product it gives the input to the motor. Output of the motor is the product of efficiency and input. Again input is already calculated, then substitute in this equation, that is V, I1 plus I2 be the what, input, then eta be the efficiency. The output of motor will be given as input to the generator, you know. So both the machines are coupled each other, that is whatever be the output of the motor, that is given input to the generator. Now since so the input to the generator is equals to eta V into I1 plus I2, then output of the generator, it is again calculated by eta into input. So then input of the generator is substituted here, then finally the output of the generator is eta square V I1 plus I2. Now the output of generator can also be written as, that is product of the supply voltage, that is V, and the generator terminal current, that is I2. Then substitute the equation 2 in equation number 1, then we will get eta square V into bracket I1 plus I2, that is equals to I2 into V. Now calculate the efficiency, that is eta square is equals to I2 divided by I1 plus I2, then eta is equal to square root of I2 divided by I1 plus I2. Now from this test we can also calculate the armature copper loss in generator, so that can be calculated by using the formula, that is I2 plus I3 square into Ra. Armature copper loss in motor, so that can be calculated by using I1 plus I2 minus I4 its whole square, because I1 be the what, this is the supply current, and then I2 minus I4 be the what, this is the current which is that is armature current of the motor. Then copper loss in field winding of the motor, it is given by, it is the product of the supply voltage and the motor field winding current, that is I3. Copper loss in field winding of motor, it is given as V into I4, but total losses in generator and motor are equal to the power supplied by the mains. Power drawn by the mains is what, V into I2. Then stray loss for both the machine can be calculated as these. This is what, these are the losses. What are the losses tabulated here? So this is the what, armature copper loss in a generator, and this is the what, armature copper loss in a motor, and this is the what, copper loss in field winding of the motor, and this is the what, the copper loss in the field winding of the what, the generator. Then these all will be represented in a single, that W suffix S. W suffix S means what, this is the stray losses. Now assuming that stray losses are equally divided between the two machines, because this is the what we calculated, this is the total stray loss of the both the machine. So now assume that the stray losses will be equally divided by between the two machine. The machine which is acting as a motor, so that motor, so total losses can be calculated by, that is I1 plus I2 minus I4 its whole square into Ra plus Vi4 plus Ws divided by 2. Then in that input to the that motor, it is calculated as, that is V into I1 plus I2. Then finally the efficiency of the motor can be calculated as eta m is equals to output divided by input, that is output can be represented as input minus losses divided by input. Now substitute the value of the input losses and again further input. The input be the what, V into bracket I1 plus I2, then losses are, these are the losses, that is this is the stray loss, and these are the what, iron that is copper losses and the constant losses, and this is again further input to the what, motor. The machine which is acting as a generator, so in that, so we can calculate the total losses. Then total losses can be calculated by, again Ws divided by 2 be the what, stray loss in that generator, and that so this is the what, the copper loss of the generator, and this is the what, the constant loss of the generator, and the output of the generator can be calculated by using the formula, that is V into I2. I2 be the generator current, then V be the supply voltage. Then finally the efficiency of the generator can be calculated by using the formula eta G is equals to output divided by input. Again input can be rewritten as output plus losses. Then substitute the value of output and the losses, then we will get the efficiency of the generator as a eta G is equals to Vi2 divided by Vi2 plus I2 plus I3 square R1 Ra plus Vi3 plus Ws divided by 2. This gives the efficiency of a generator. So I think we'll continue the remaining tests, that is the retardation test, field test. So that will be continued in the next video. So till then, be safe, stay at home. Thank you.